Oh, no, I'll take you up. Everyone, just give me a moment.
Just want to make sure.
Preliminary, can we approach? We were
Yes.
set for a motion to suppress at 9 o'clock. The officer can't be here, so
His son is sick and his wife is out of town, so he's the only one that can watch his kid.
Okay,
Apparently he got taken out of school yesterday.
okay, all right, just give me a moment and I'll take that up.
Okay, Judge. Thank you.
All right, sure. And I'm sorry, what's the case name?
It's gonna be for Stephen Wildbacher.
All right, can you, counsel, do you mind going in the back to make sure? Oh, there it is. All right, just give me a moment and I'll take that matter up. All right, everyone. What's today? Is today Wednesday, Thursday? It seems like we've been in court like more than a week now. Wednesday. Okay. Well, we're almost to the end of the week. All right, when I call your name, please let me know you're here. Alonzo Taylor. Alonzo Taylor.
Your Honor, just with his attorney.
All right, thank you. Stephen Wallbarker.
he's here, Judge.
All right, Mr. Wallbarker, if you can approach with your counsel. All right, when do you state, I know you said your officer is not available and defense, do you have any
No, I
objections?
can't object to that. Yes.
All right, so
And
what's a good day?
so I asked, he said any day next week work for him. His wife will be back in town on Friday
Okay,
in the evening.
any day next week? And how long do y'all expect the motion to suppress
He
hearing to
won't
last?
be-
5 minutes.
It won't be over an hour, maybe 45 minutes.
All right, then let's put this on Wednesday, the 17th.
Thank you, Judge.
Is
9
everyone
o'clock.
okay with that date?
9 o'clock.
Yes. Can I have a reset form? And Miss Ferguson is out for issues with her mom. So if there's an issue with this date, we'll figure it out. But I think the 17th will be a good date and we'll just do it at 9. And if we're in trial, I'll start the trial late. I'll set the trial at 10.
Whatever. I'm free. I mean, I'm loose.
All right, after you sign that, just give me a copy. And then you are excused.
Always tries to reach.
Always.
Yeah.
I'm taking our copies.
All right, thank you. You're excused. Have a good one. Jaden Green. All right, if you all will come forward. All right, your case has, because we're in jury trial, your case has been rescheduled for June 12th. Oh, if you'll walk around.
Oh, yes, Judge, sorry.
And you'll be in impact court.
And Judge,
Can I see
I-
Jaden Green's file?
Your Honor, this is I drafted that this morning.
Okay.
We would request an additional $500 for the investigator. We
Okay,
have final trial subpoenas to be served
okay.
and
Okay.
also. Okay, then I won't make my argument. Judge. I'll zip it and leave that in your care.
All right, once you sign that, then you will be excused.
Thank you. Judge.
You're welcome. And just make sure to give a copy to the court. All right, so just remember, on June 12th, you'll be in impact court.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Is Brandon Sierra here? All right, we'll wait for her to return. Elsa Vacara, who's the attorney for Elsa Vacara? We'll wait for your attorney. Is the attorney here for Manuel Rodriguez? All right, we'll wait for her. The attorney for Philip Diller.
Morning, Judge.
All right, can I see the file on Diller? And where's this, Mr. Diller, come forward? And counsel, if you'll come round.
Yes, Judge. And may I introduce Annalisa Gomez?
Okay.
to you? She is working with the law offices of John Brown Law,
Oh, well,
doing civil stuff and helping criminals.
hi, don't be a stranger. It's good meeting you. I know you will do great work. I always believe that people bloom wherever they are planted. So I know you're going to do great work. And if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to stop by. All right,
Thank
you're
Judge.
welcome. All right, so you'll be in impact court on June 12th.
Okay. That's it.
And if you'll just turn the copy into the clerk, you're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Any other attorneys who are present?
Yes, Your Honor, Lee Cutter and Pauline Portillo for Manny Rodriguez.
All right, Manuel Rodriguez. All right, can I see the file on Manuel Rodriguez? All right, Ms. Cutter,
It's me.
here you are.
Oh, I apologize.
Oh, you don't want to come through the wire.
I'll knock something off.
Yeah. All right, you all will be back here on June 12th. You're going to be in impact court. All right, any other attorneys present?
Can we be heard on that reset date?
No, that's your date. All right, the attorneys for Elsa Vacara, Brandon Sierra, Darren Does, Stephen Stokes. All right. Then next we have, oh yeah, once they sign it, you're excused.
You need to stop, Mr. Judge. There's Piper.
Yes.
That's Stokes.
All right, thank you. Are there any other attorneys present? Yes, who are you here for?
Elsa Vacar.
All right, Elsa Vacar, if you come forward, please. Here, our counsel.
Oh.
Oh, why do people reach through? Y'all gonna knock something over?
Well,
You can just go around the corner.
I don't mind doing it.
I don't-
Offend you.
Yeah, aw.
I'll be nice.
No, I appreciate it. Mr. Piper, you know I'm not easily offended.
Well, I know, but
Oh,
still, occurs.
I appreciate that. Can I see the file on Vacara?
Vaquera.
Vacara.
Yeah.
Vaquera,
Okay,
yes.
All right, so you all will be back here on the 12th of June for jury trial, but you will be in impact court.
Impact. Okay,
Yes.
good.
So once you sign that, you're excused.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
And thank you for letting me know how to pronounce your name because
Yes.
I will not learn if people just pretend like I'm pronouncing it correctly.
I know they tell me vaquera, vaquero. I was like, okay, I'm a cowgirl.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you, the double L's get me every time.
You know, I had Spanish in high school and in college,
Mhm.
and so I got pretty good at rolling the R's, but I had a roommate from Cleveland and he would try to, it would be like cast up. He couldn't roll an R to save his life.
I'm telling you.
And I know how those Louisiana people are. They can do a lot of things, but maybe not. roll
No,
the
we
R's.
can't roll the R's. We can't. All right, could somebody grab Mr. Greg Demarier's for his client for sentencing? I think he's outside. All right. Because otherwise, we're going to go into the, could I just have the rest of the files?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
All right, and family violence, are you all ready to go on his motions?
And motions for me for the case.
No, I mean the pretrial motions that he gave everybody yesterday.
Brittany's upstairs talking with complainants.
Because the jury is going to be here at 9:45.
Yeah.
Thank you, Judge. Just want to go to PSI.
Okay.
We're ready whenever you are.
Oh, who is the state on Taylor?
So it's criminal trial.
Okay. All right. And could you have Taylor come up?
Yes. Alonzo, come on up, please.
All right, court is calling 2022 CR 6828 State of Texas versus Alonzo Taylor. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state,
Jason Deerhead, Your Honor.
for the
Greg-
defense?
Greg Gamer for the defense.
We are here for,
Gamer,
could you spell your last name for the court reporter, please?
yes, DES is in Sam, MARAIS is in Sam.
Thank you.
Sorry about the S.
So we're here for sentencing today. You entered a plea on March 29th of no contest. And you applied for deferred adjudication. According to the plea bargaining agreement, punishments be assessed at a cap of 5 years, and the state is silent on your application. All right, have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the PSI report?
No objections, Your Honor.
All right, defense.
Your Honor, I'd like to say a few words and then call Alonzo and his mother up if that's possible.
Yes.
So the first thing, Judge, as you go through this PSI, the thing that sticks out is criminal history, obviously. This young man just turned 20, April 8th. And as we just talked out there, I'm saying you're the perfect candidate for probation because of this. You're at a crossroads. Your life is going to be defined by what you do from now on. You've already made this thing as since a 12-year-old, if you go back with those ages. He does have certificates for construction that he can work. He does have a job. He does not have any dependents. I've talked to him about his alcohol and drug use, and he's saying that is not happening.
All right, if you drug tested today, what are the results going to be?
Kind of dirty. Okay.
All right.
Kind of dirty. He said kind of dirty.
Dirty for what?
Marijuana.
No, it's not marijuana. I think you know what you were using. So what have you used? Let me put you under oath. Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
There's no.
All right, you can lower your hand and you're gonna have to speak up so the court reporter can hear. So what are you gonna be dirty for?
Marijuana.
And what else? All right, before we continue, I'm gonna want a UA.
Yes, Judge. All right. They're gonna give you a UA. Do we need
Yes.
to
Oh, they're
walk
gonna
it
have,
down or?
oh no, they're gonna have somebody come and give him a UA.
And then we'll continue. Judge, may I run around to some other court real quick?
Yes, you can.
How long is that gonna take? About an hour?
Oh, no, they're gonna do a UA. Are you prepared to go now? All right, so they're gonna do a UA very quickly. All right, and state on these pretrial matters. Okay. Oh, Greg, don't leave because he's doing a UA right now. Thank you. All right, thank you. Okay, Charles Bont just sent me a photo of him at Cafe Du Monde and his food.
Do you, tell him that he has to show up in court right now?
Yeah.
I'm not happy with him on very many levels.
Yeah, I'm just like, come on. It's just like if Brittany's in Hawaii and she sends us a photo of her on the beach or something. I'm like, couldn't you have kept that to yourself? Yeah, it's like, come back later.
I got enough aggravation.
It appears that Greg is talking to the mom outside. Yes. Oh, that is so awesome. But- But here's the thing about Cafe Du Monde. Okay, since you know I love Paris and I'm there all the time, I have become a connoisseur of hot chocolate because you know I don't drink. So for my birthday, believe it or not, I've only been in New Orleans like maybe once. So we go on a girls' trip and they take me to New Orleans. They're like, we're gonna take you to New Orleans. And since my birthday is November 2nd, we end up going there around Halloween time because we have to come back for court.
Yeah.
So we go, they're like, you need to try the ruby slipper. I think it's ruby slipper or red slipper and Cafe Du Monde, right? I'm not a big fan of a bunch of powdered sugar for my breakfast. So I just take a little bite. I'm like, and then I'm like, I want the hot chocolate. So I have the hot chocolate. And you know what I tell them? I'm a connoisseur of hot chocolate. I'm like, this is carnation hot chocolate. I can tell the fake marshmallows that have been freeze dried. I'm like, so their hot chocolate is not the best.
Oh, that's funny.
So Cafe Du Monde, do some real hot chocolate. When you go to Paris, guess what? It is like you are drinking. Like somebody just melted some chocolate and you're drinking, and it is the best. They don't even put marshmallows on it.
Like 1,500 calories a sip or something.
No, it's easy, 6,000 calories, easy.
Where's this at?
Well, I told him I became a connoisseur of hot chocolate, and at Cafe Du Monde in Louisiana,
Oh, are you kidding?
that's carnation.
It is.
That is not real hot chocolate.
Don't even forget beignet. I mean, those two things should be.
Oh, I guess I should whisper it because I'm from Louisiana. It's too much. I mean, it's powdered sugar. Even when I have pancakes and I want the buttermilk pancakes, I have to tell everybody, I'm a country girl. No powdered sugar, Don't give me this IHOP nonsense where it's stuck, because then you're just eating a cake. It's like, I don't want whipped cream. If you want to put some fruit on the side, sure. But I just like hot maple syrup.
I like that.
Yeah, so. Vashawn, do we have results?
Positive for taste.
Okay, all right, let's bring him on out.
THC. You have a base level or?
No, they can't give base
Come
level.
on, Judge. I'm working with
I
thin air here.
know, and you're a teacher too.
About to teach.
Yeah, well, sometimes clients don't tell you everything.
Well, no, and I had talked to his mama about that, so.
Okay,
Hey, Lonzo right here.
all right, we're back on the record. So when's the last time you used marijuana?
About a week ago, it was a candy bar.
Okay, you're gonna need to speak up. Right now is not the time to be too cool for school.
It was about a week ago. It was a candy bar site. My voice is just kind of deep and low.
Right. So why are you doing marijuana when you know you have sentencing and you know I could send you to prison for 5 years? Because I'm sure your attorney will tell you, and I'm sure the state will tell you, in this court, age is just a number. I'm not going to treat you like a child because you're not a child. You're in adult court. I don't know why people want to use some drugs before they come to court and then try to throw themselves on the mercy of the court. State is silent, but you're here for a serious offense where you could end up going to prison for 5 years. And I will tell you this, if you end up going to prison for 5 years, it's not your mom's fault. It's not your attorney's fault. Because I'm sure your attorney probably already told you that I always, well, not always, but usually ask for a drug test. And all you had to do was come into court clean today. And if I were to send you to prison today, which I haven't made up my mind on that, it would be entirely your fault because your criminal history is just insane for someone your age. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So what are you doing with your life?
Well, I'm not gonna say that, in the past that, it was a regret because jail kind of did help me out, I had problems. It helped me.
Oh, wait, let's do this. Let's stop saying, after every sentence. I want you to concentrate and try not to say, A lot of people come before me and they say, it's like, well, like this and like that.
Okay.
Your attorney is also a teacher, as am I. And I will tell you, he does not like his children saying, it's like. So let's try not to have that when we speak.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
Well, I went to school for, construction. Yeah, and it's always been like, type of dream job, you know what I mean? Sorry, it's just how.
Can I ask him a few questions, Your Honor?
No, I want to.
Okay.
I want to hear him.
Well, I went to construction for about 3 years for, the school for construction, I got my ACCR, my OSHA.
See, it's hard. And I'm doing this not to make fun of you, but you have to learn how to speak, not like you speak with your friends, because this is a professional setting. And when you go do job interviews, people are not going to want to hear, it's like, So concentrate on not saying those things. It's for the betterment of you. So concentrate, not saying that and not saying, okay, and it's like. And I want you to stand up straight and I want you to stop mumbling and I want you to speak so I can hear you because I'm trying to make a decision on whether or not to send you to prison.
Yes, ma'am.
So go for it.
I went to school for 3 years for construction. Since then, I got my ACCR, OSHA, and my level in carpentry, cabinets and stuff like that.
And do you have an
I haven't-
opportunity for a job?
Yeah, I have an opportunity to job. I have a neighbor that does construction. So.
Does your neighbor know that you're doing marijuana?
Yes, ma'am.
You're telling me that your neighbor wants to hire you and your neighbor knows that you're doing marijuana. Tell the truth.
No, ma'am.
Here's the other thing. Do not be dishonest with me. I do not like when people are dishonest. You cannot do construction and use drugs. If you do, something's going to happen. Either there's going to be an accident at the job. And I have relatives who do construction work. I have relatives who drive. Anytime there's an accident, the first thing they want them to do, whether it's their fault or not, is take a drug test. And if there were an accident at a construction site, they would have you take a drug test. You would be positive for marijuana like you're positive today, and you would be fired. And they would be looking at a civil suit because someone is on their site using drugs. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you living with your mother?
Yes, ma'am.
I know she doesn't want drugs in her house.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I see his mom?
Absolutely. Ma'am, come on up.
Peter.
And you had requested her, Judge, and
Yes.
we made sure she wanted to be here as well.
Thank you.
You might just remove your mask.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, if you can lower your mask and state your name for the record.
My name is Tracy.
All right, and are you his mother?
Yes.
What does he spend his day doing?
Well, just normal, sleeping. He goes and helps me with Ubering.
How does he help you with Ubering?
He delivers the food.
Does he have any friends over?
Not really.
Does he have a
No.
curfew?
Well, he has a GPS on, so he doesn't get to leave. He's just gone from 2 to 10, and then he's at home. I don't really have any. He's different. It's
Did-
calmer.
Does he help you clean the home?
He does. He cleans his room. That's the most important thing, is keeping his room clean. That's what I care about, is every kid can clean their own room and wash their own dishes. That's great with me, because that is the most important thing, is if he can make sure he cleans his room, because I know he doesn't make a lot of the mess that's in the kitchen. It's not him. But when he does, he's very good at cleaning. He's different.
All right, who all is in the household?
So it's me, it's Lonzo, my 3 other kids. My friend comes around once in a while, but he doesn't live there, but he does.
So are the people in the home just his siblings?
Just his siblings. His girlfriend comes, but she doesn't stay. She just.
And I'm
comes,
hoping she's not in a bedroom with the door closed with him.
Yes.
Oh, that needs to stop. I don't know how parents do it today, but what I can tell you, in my household, when I was growing up, number one, there were no boys in bedrooms.
Yeah.
Number two, they were only in common areas. And number three, they had to call before they came.
Very
And when my grandmother would babysit me, my aunt had a boyfriend to come over. And you know what ended up happening? He overstayed his welcome. And you know what my grandmother told him? No one is going to come into my home and try to outsit me. And she put him out from the common area. Now, he hung around, and now he and my aunt have been married for like 30 years. So I guess he was like, I'm going to take what your grandmother is dishing out. But he should not be in a bedroom with a door closed with his girlfriend. You know why? Because one, he's not ready to have a child because he's using marijuana. He has all this criminal history. And any mother who would allow a girlfriend to see someone with the baggage he has when he doesn't have his life in order, I question that mother. And he may end up improving his life, but the way his life stands right now, it's chaos. It's chaos with the GPS. It's chaos because he's looking at 5 years prison, and you have some girl coming over in his bedroom with the door closed. That equals possibility of children. And are you ready to be a grandmother from him?
No, they both take care of themselves to the point where they are.
No,
not
no, they
having
don't.
kids.
They're young. And young children tend to do dumb things, whether they have been raised by Mary Poppins or not. They still do dumb things. And I'm just going to be honest with you, right? I don't understand how parents allow children who are not married to come into their home and treat their home, as my grandmother used to say, like a hotel motel. That should not be happening. And you know why? Because it sets a bad example for his siblings. And then your home becomes a hotel motel. The only difference is they don't have to pay for it.
Very true.
So that needs to stop. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, here is your choice. I can give you deferred adjudication. If I give you deferred adjudication, if you are revoked, you're going to be looking at 10 years in prison. Or I can send you to prison for 2 years and you will be done. Which would you prefer?
Education.
And what I can tell you is Deputy Laura tells me all the time that she doesn't know how people do probation in this court, because probation in my court is difficult. Because if I give you probation, I want you to be rehabilitated. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the court is going to sentence you to 5 years deferred adjudication. There's a $1,500 fine that will be probated. There should be proof of employment within 30 days. There should be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. There should be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Regular UAs. I'm going to want him tested for levels. Those levels have better start going down. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And is this girlfriend you have, is she using as well?
No, ma'am.
Another reason why she shouldn't be with you. It sounds like she doesn't use drugs, but you do. And then you have these criminal cases and you've just been placed on deferred for felon in possession of a weapon. You need to ask yourself, why is she with me? And if it's because she sees something in you, you need to ask yourself, what does she see in me? And the fact that she's taken a chance on you, you need to start doing better. He's going to remain on GPS. I'm going to want a curfew. The only exception to the curfew is if he's at work. So he's going to be in the home by 8 p.m. And if he's not working on weekends, he is to remain at home on the weekends. So there will be no partying for you.
Your Honor, if I may. So the construction job with his neighbor that he was talking about, he was saying that, how is that going to work with GPS? Because I don't know if that person, well, that's what we need to find out. We need to talk to him and see if he can arrange a schedule.
The problem they have with the GPS, it's on a school campus and they go around military bases.
Mhm.
And they do the routes.
Oh, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yes.
They want you working. Okay, they want you using your craft. But you also got to show this court that you're going to be doing what you need to do.
All right. So it's partial GPS.
I get it.
All right. It's partial GPS for employment. I'm going to want field visits 1 time per month, 200 hours of community service restitution. Probation, is there anything else he needs?
Your Honor, yes, you said, curfew is 8 p.m. to 6 a.m.
No, my understanding, he's going to be working throughout the week. So he doesn't leave the house till 7 a.m. and he's back at 8 p.m. But if he's at work, then he can work.
And Judge, I appreciate your thoroughness. I just need to make sure he understands this. You're saying if that construction job, if he cannot have the GPS, you're saying then he cannot work that job. Is that what we're saying?
Well, let's just see. I don't believe in crossing bridges until they're
I
built.
agree, Judge.
So let's see where we are on that. And then if there's an issue with that, then he can come back to
Yes,
the
ma'am.
court. In this court, to be successful on probation, communication is key. So if there's an issue, talk to the probation. If you're not able to speak with probation or you feel like they're not addressing your issue, then come to court and address it with me.
Very good.
But the issues on the construction job side is not with this side. That's the reason I haven't been able to work yet.
Okay, I don't understand what you're saying.
The issues on the construction side, that's why I haven't been able to work yet.
Like, what is the issue?
It's the monitor, me being around, gotta be on school campuses, military bases. It
You
just
saying-
doesn't look right in the field.
So you need to talk to that boss and see if that's a no-go. In other
Yeah,
words.
I mean,
Nah,
get some big boots, get some big boots on, pull your pants leg over the GPS. Here's the reason why you're on GPS. I don't just put people on GPS. Sometimes people who are on probation, they get taken off of GPS. The reason why you're on GPS is because you are not even doing what you're supposed to do with this hanging over your head. You knew that I could send you to prison for potentially 5 years, and you chose marijuana over having a better shot at not going to prison. And I'm going to want a TAP evaluation.
It's already.
Oh, that is true. What are they recommending? All right, what I'm going to do with you, I'm going to want 90 sober meetings in 90 days. And those are all over the city. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to stop using marijuana, or you need some type of intervention?
Be able to stop.
All right, probation, is there anything else? Is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I'm concerned about the job. It's kind of my dream job. And
No, wear long pants. And I've said it, I'm going to say it again. And maybe the marijuana is clouding your mind, but this is what I'm telling you. Wear long pants, wear bigger boots. If there's another issue where the construction job is saying you cannot wear GPS to work this job, then that means that bridge has been built. Your attorney can come back to me and we can address it. But if they are saying that construction, you can't have that with construction, you're going to need that person to come into court or either do an affidavit with your attorney or directly speak to your attorney to say construction cannot be done with this. Do you understand?
yes, ma'am.
All right. Showing you what's entitled trial court certification of defendant's rights to appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because it's a plea bargaining agreement, because I followed your plea bargaining agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
Yes.
Just one more, if you, thank you.
So my son passed away, so
How long ago?
it was 4 years ago, but I wanted to do something with my family for his birthday, and that's this Saturday. And I wanted to find out if that would be okay.
Where are you
All
gonna
right.
go?
Vashawn,
We're going to the Live Oak Park.
Okay.
and
can you make sure that they're allowed to celebrate her, I won't say celebrate, but acknowledge her son's passing and that he's allowed to attend? So Saturday, if whatever their plans are, he's allowed to attend.
And as far as the monitor, so I completely understand why you want to have the monitor and I'm not. But I will tell you that Alonso's been to a lot of interviews, and so it is very difficult to wear a monitor and people want to give you a job. And so his friend was explaining to him too, because I overheard the phone and I overheard you say something too, and it made me think about something. Because a lot of people judge something that they don't know the whole story about. And that's an unfortunate thing because we've been dealing with this for a very long time, and I'm still dealing with this. And this is one of the things that have caused a lot of problems for Alonso.
All right, here's the thing. I understand what you're saying. I'm internalizing it, but I want you to understand something. He needs structure. He doesn't have structure. And I am not trying to question your parenting skills, but this is what I see. Parents are trying to be friends with their children. They're acting like their friends, their children are their friends and adults. He is not, you're not technically an adult. You know why? Because you can't take care of yourself. You're living at home with your mother. You're using her home as a hotel room, and she's letting you use it as a hotel room. You've been having issues since you've been a juvenile. We got the resisting arrest and search, criminal trespass, criminal mischief, unauthorized use of a vehicle, failure to identify, another resisting arrest, search and transport. I'm ignoring that because that was taken into taken in consideration. And then you've been to TYC before. And you know what that tells me? That tells me a little bit that one, you need structure. And mom, you are not his friend, you are his parent. And you need to start laying down the law because otherwise he's going to end up in prison. And if you violate the conditions that I've set for you, what's going to end up happening is you could be looking at 10 years in prison. Here on out, everything that you do in your life, every decision that you're making, you need to ask yourself, is this something that could result in me going to prison for 10 years? If the answer is yes, don't do it. If the answer is maybe, don't do it. Because what I can tell you is, and Deputy Laura will tell you, Deputy Mejia and Ms. Abrams will tell you, at some point in time, when people violate conditions in this court, they always end up getting caught. You may not get caught the first time you violate it, but ultimately you end up getting caught because I'm serious about probation coming out doing field visits. And when they do, and something happens, you know what ends up happening? I receive a motion to revoke. And when I get that motion to revoke, if it's in proper order, I check the box and a warrant is issued. You are picked up by the police and you are taken into custody. And either your mom makes bond for you or she does not. If she doesn't make bond for you, you are brought over in orange after having been at the jail with other inmates, sharing toilets, sharing clothing. And then I hear your motion. And if it turns out that it is true and I find it's true, then you're looking at 10 years in the prison. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So your mom is allowing you to do things that she should not be allowing you to do. So you're going to have to check yourself. I don't know if that's something that young people still say, but that's what they said when I was growing up. You're going to have to put yourself in check because your mom looks at you, your mom loves you, your mom looks at you as still as her little boy, you're an adult. So if you love your mom, you're going to have to start doing things appropriately so your mom doesn't have to come to court begging you and not seeing the fact that she has a son who came to court for sentencing and you're using marijuana. And you're probably using it in her house in the form of candy bars or whatever. And you're in the back room with your girlfriend having sex or whatever. And you're going to end up, if you continue on that vein, you guys are going to forget something. And you're going to end up bringing a grandchild into this world for her. And she's going to end up caring for it. And that grandchild is going to be stuck with the father who has all this history, who doesn't have their life in order. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so probation will go over conditions with you.
Thank you, Judge. With the excuse.
Yes. Brandon Sierra. Are the parties here for Brandon Sierra?
Present, Your Honor.
All right, counsel on Sierra, it's coming back on June 12th.
Yes, sir.
Darren Doe's,
Judge, if I may, we were gonna take up the issue that is.
all right. If you will come back at 1:30, is that possible?
I can't, I have to for this afternoon. I'll be having the W.
Okay, when will you be back?
I will be back Friday.
All right, I tell you what, we can do it by Friday. You can appear by Zoom.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll be present, but you could be by Zoom?
Yes.
Yes. ma'am.
And if you wish to be by Zoom, you can be by Zoom as well.
Okay, what time on Friday?
Friday at 9 o'clock.
Okay, yes, sir. I'll get the link.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So Mr. Doe's and everyone else, you're going to be in impact court on the 12th. Deputy Laura, all the jurors here?
No, Your Honor, I'm missing one.
Okay. All right. And then, yes. Oh. If you'll put the, thank you. Make sure it's a date on. I'm so sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Appreciate it. think that's it for criminal trial, Judge.
I think that is it.
Right down the.
Oh,
Because I'm sure they're just trying to push this.
okay. All right, thank you. And everyone, please make sure you turn in your reset forms.
I was waiting for you to finish it. I didn't want to cut in, but check yourself before.
You wreck yourself.
There we go.
Tell Stephanie I said hi.
I will, Judge.
All right, how are the children doing? I know your daughter is jarring being overseas.
That'll be a full house. So Jacob has one more semester at Arizona State.
Mhm.
He's coming back for a month. Hannah and Nick just moved back from Austria. So he's in his third year playing pro over there, and Hannah is amazing. So they're going to be back in the house. So our whole house can be crazy. Devin, 17.
Oh, that is so awesome.
I got to bring him by, Judge.
You do.
I will.
Okay, awesome. And tell Stephanie I miss her.
Oh, Stephanie's, yeah. But Devin just had 18 taken, so he can't eat the past few weeks.
It's like cutting wrapping paper, you know, like little slides.
Don't have to be.
Like heroin. I'm not how heroin.
Mom.
I'm not ready right now.
All right, you two have a good one. And everybody's doing great.
Let me know
Take
if
care.
you too.
All right, thank you. Have a good one. Hey, Seth, travels, because the weather is sort of, maybe it's gonna rain, maybe not.
There is just a lot of backstory. Because.
You know, my yard is just coming back from Snowmageddon. Well, we have a possum that keeps coming in the backyard, and my next door neighbor named him Clifford. And it's so funny, he will
She was just doing.
travel all along the top of the gate and then just freeze. And everybody's like, Clifford, we know you're alive. Nobody's gonna bother you. Do your thing, Clifford.
Careers, they made this agreement.
Yeah, it's starting to come back.
Get married, forgive all those years. And
You know, we ended up going, May Ballard and Judge Brown, we ended up going to Rainbow Gardens. And yeah, we went to the one that's on Bandera. The plants were so beautiful. I finally found my honeysuckle. Yeah,
just don't know exactly.
it is.
Yeah.
But let me know what Moberger has.
In anticipation.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Later.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
All right. All right, where's the defense? Oh, come forward so we can go over your motions.
From here or from?
Oh, no, just have a seat. Oh, please come forward. Oh, where did? Oh, court reporter go? Yes. Oh, no, just have a seat, counsel. Yes. All right, and do you need a chair?
I'm gonna go in the back.
Oh, okay. Oh, you can take Ms. Abrams' seat. And whenever you need a break, just interrupt us and let us know.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Deputy Laura, does anybody know where the court reporter is? Okay, thanks.
Well,
All right, thank you, I appreciate it.
Nada más quería para que supiera la juez, si necesito pararme, estirarme un poco.
And I just want the judge to know, so maybe I can stand up and stretch.
How often do you need to
Yo
stretch?
tan a menudo necesito.
No sé,
estirarme.
depende. Ayer me fui con mucho dolor en mi
It
espalda.
depends. Yesterday I left on a lot of pain.
Okay. We can tell the judge. We'll tell the judge.
Okay.
Does he have is it indicted?
Yes.
All right, all right, Mr. Gomez, just give us a question.
He's asking if that's it.
No, I'll talk to him. Thank you.
Um, He wants to
Yes.
talk to the judge about pain in his back. He says that it's causing him a lot of discomfort and needs to stretch sometimes or take a break sometimes. So, yeah.
That's like my big thing. I'm sorry, how long? You just didn't want to.
She just got here.
Okay.
I'm like a really friendly bunch.
All right, let's see, while I'm waiting for that file. All right, Mr. Gomez. If you'll step outside and make a phone call for your attorney.
I've been trying to get a hold of them throughout the duration of the case and
All right, just one moment. We're going to take care of that. All right, court is going to call 2019 CR 6322, State of Texas versus Juan Antonio Garcia Sanchez. Now parties announced for the record for the state.
Travis Banks and Brittany Mitchell for the state of Texas.
Defense.
Rafael Leon and Brian Kimbrough for the defendant.
And are you Juan Antonio Garcia Sanchez?
Yes.
All right, you may have a seat. Could I have the interpreter, if you would raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm you will faithfully translate from English into Spanish and Spanish into English, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record.
Norma Nero.
All right, thank you. All right, we have pretrial motions. The first motion is defendant's motion in limine regarding the state's use of victim or victims to describe or refer to complaining witness or other witness. State any objection.
Your Honor, I will, I agree to refer to her as the complainant. If I will be very conscious of it, if I do accidentally say victim, I will be sure to correct it as soon as I can, but I will, if I intend to refer to as victim, I'll approach.
All right, then that motion will be granted. Motion for production of expert witness materials.
Your Honor, I don't know what materials exactly the expert. We have two experts in this case.
Sorry, hang on a second. I just lost my.
Okay.
You speak kind of low.
Okay, let me. Phone.
Okay, go ahead.
Your Honor, we have two experts in this case. Holly Wilson was the forensic interviewer, and Dr. Kassoon did the sexual assault exam. They have, their own experience, but we can certainly have a small hearing outside of the presence of the jury, when they get up there. But as far as what materials they rely on, both of them have extensive experience. And I don't know if that's something that I can pinpoint exactly to even provide for defense. And certainly there's numerous items throughout their education and experience that come to play into their expert opinion. But I believe.
All right, defense, when the witness comes, you're to provide, if that person has a CV, you're to provide it to the defense.
Okay.
I couldn't hear you.
All right, then request for notice to offer hearsay statement.
TV.
Your Honor, we do have, I believe, 3 notices of intent to present outcry statements on file.
All right, we'll have a hearing once you're going to present that.
Okay.
Motion requesting the disclosure of expert witnesses. Have you given them notice of your expert witnesses?
Yes, there was a complete witness list, including our experts provided.
All right. All right, is there any witness who's going to offer any type of scientific evidence?
I don't know if nothing scientific, just medical.
All right. Defendant's request for notice of state's intentions to use evidence of extraneous offenses at trial. If you're going to go into any extraneous information, you need to approach the court first.
Okay.
State, have you provided a witness list?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And any, let me see. All right, this motion in limine concerning the state's entitlement to a fair trial. I don't understand your motion, counsel. What are you asking for?
Judge, and this happens normally during voir dire of when the state is.
We've passed the point of voir dire.
I know, and that was my preamble to what I was gonna say.
Okay.
So that's normally when it happens. Fortunately, that was not discussed at the time. So it might be kind of moot in that aspect, but what I want to highlight is that the state not use in their closing or in any other manner the word that the jury has to be fair to both sides.
All right.
There is nothing in the Constitution of the United States or the Texas Constitution that explicitly states that the state is entitled to a fair trial. What it says explicitly is that the due process clause of the 14th Amendment applicable to the states is that those rights, the fairness aspect of trials is supposed to go to the citizen accused.
All right.
Not to the state.
All right. Thank you. Deputy Laura, if you'll bring the jury in.
Is that granted or not granted?
Counsel, your request is moot because that was something you were requesting during jury selection.
Well,
and that's already been completed and we're not at closing arguments yet.
Would you want to raise the motion prior to closing?
Yes.
Okay.
And Your Honor, just a housekeeping matter, Mr. Garcia Sanchez has a back problem, and he occasionally has back pain that causes him the discomfort that he needs to stretch or, so if I make some sort of a gesture to the court to let them know, perhaps we could take a break to allow him to.
Sure. If you need a break, just let the court know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
they're going to indict. Stand up.
We're ready.
All right, for the jury.
Not guilty. Every time they. say that.
Van a leer este es el documento que regresa el gran jurado con la acusación formal. Cuando le pregunten cada uno de estos casos.
All right, everyone, please be seated.
Eso es todo.
All right, I hope you all were able to find decent parking and not maybe had to go to the very top. You each were given an oath downstairs, but I'm going to give you an oath, and that oath is as it relates to this jury trial. So if everyone could please raise your right hand for me. Do you and each of you solemnly swear affirm in the case of the state of Texas versus Juan Antonio Garcia Sanchez, you will a true verdict render according to the law and the evidence, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. State.
In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, the grand jury of Bexar County, state of Texas, duly organized and paneled and sworn as such at the May term AD 2019 of the 144th Judicial District Court of said county in said court at said term, do present in and to said court that in the county and state aforesaid and anterior to the presentment of this indictment, count one, on or about the first day of February 2017, Juan Garcia Sanchez, hereinafter referred to as the defendant, did intentionally and knowingly cause the penetration of the anus of Mia Escalante, a child who was younger than 14 years, by the defendant's sexual organ. Count two, on or about the first day of June 2017, Juan Garcia Sanchez, hereinafter referred to as defendant, did intentionally and knowingly cause the penetration of the anus of Mia Escalante, a child who was younger than 14 years, by the defendant's sexual organ. On or about the first day of September
I'm
2017.
sorry, could you slow down for the interpreter, please?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry. On or about the first day of September 2017, Juan Garcia Sanchez, hereinafter referred to as defendant, did intentionally and knowingly cause the penetration of the anus of Mia Escalante, a child who was younger than 14 years, by the defendant's sexual organ. On or about the first day of May 2018, Juan Garcia Sanchez, hereinafter referred to as the defendant, did intentionally and knowingly cause the penetration of the anus of Mia Escalante, a child who was younger than 14 years, by the defendant's sexual organ. Count five. On or about the first day of August 2018, Juan Garcia Sanchez, hereinafter referred to as the defendant, did intentionally and knowingly cause the penetration of the anus of Mia Escalante, a child who was younger than 14 years, by the defendant's sexual organ, against the peace and dignity of the state.
Mr. Sanchez, to count one, how do you plead?
No culpable.
Not guilty.
To count two, how do you plead?
Inocente.
Innocent.
You either need to plead guilty or not guilty. To count two, how do you plead?
No culpable.
Not guilty.
To count three, how do you plead?
No culpable.
Not guilty.
To count four, how do you plead?
No culpable.
Not guilty.
To count five, how do you plead?
No culpable.
Not guilty.
All right, thank you. You may be seated. State, do you have opening statements?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed. All right. State, does anyone have any witnesses in the courtroom?
No, Your Honor.
All right, State, you may proceed with your opening statements.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. Thank you for we're finally at the point where we'll start. A lot, we can talk about that. There were a lot of things on that.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, the interpreter needs to move because she can't hear.
All right, so everyone, if you all can keep your voices up so that the court reporter can hear and so that the interpreter can hear, that would be appreciated.
I also need to move, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so we spoke about where these happen, who the perpetrators typically are, why children don't tell right away. Well, our victim is Mia Escalante. Her father is Juan. Starting at a very young age, Mr. Sanchez took advantage of his father. Anal penetration. That was the sexual abuse over and over. We heard, we narrowed it down to 6 counts. With that on or about language. You'll hear from Mia. She will tell you how this would happen. Mom would be working during the day. The father did not work. And she would be scared to be alone with them. She was off with work. But whenever he had the opportunity, he was. She didn't know it was wrong at the time. She knew she was scared of it. And she didn't like it. And it wasn't until she reached 4th grade and then started having the thoughts about touching and sex. And she really realized it was wrong. Around this time, Maria, her mother, was having a lot of arguments. Divorce was brought up time and time again. Until finally it culminated in a day where Maria and Mia were in the car. The defendant had just asked for divorce. And Maria, in a state of shock, whatever, actually flagged down an officer. She didn't even know what that would mean for her. She asked the officer, you know, what are we gonna do? You'll hear from the officer, he's now at the Verifying Sheriff's case. He told her something along the lines of, hurry, have a good day. Well, Mia, you'll hear from her. She knew if there's a divorce, one parent will have custody and the other will not be around. So that's when, out of fear, she told her mom. Mom is attention. So you'll hear from Officer Police on him. He goes down the street, he comes back, and again, he sees Maria flagging him down. And this time, she's noticeably upset. In a state of shock. And that's when Mia finally tells her what is going on. And so you'll hear from Officer Police. He was there for the very first outcry. So was Maria. She was there as well. And you'll hear the detail, the fact that she was able to look back at that time and know what. After that point, law enforcement obviously is involved, and there's an investigation. Yeah, it does go for what's called a forensic interview. With different Polly Wilson, she is a licensed forensic interviewer. We'll see what that means. They are trained to ask children in non-biased ways, objective ways as to what happened. And she'll tell you the kind of details that to explore in her example shows. And we ate them all. Fortunately, due to the time, you won't see these. You won't see any of this. But we're confident by the end of this. When you see Mia, when you hear her story, you see her on the screen. We will ask you all of that.
All right, defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court.
Yes.
The This is a case about a marriage in problem. There have been several discussions between mother and father. First of all, they have two children. One who was at the time 11 years and 8 months, was already in middle school. There was also a son, 4 years of age. There was always, you know how teenagers sometimes are. Well, this teenager didn't want to do anything. She resented discipline. She was rebellious. I think that's what the evidence is going to show. In hearing and witnessing the strife in the relationship of our parents, my client, they were living at an apartment. So this has been going on, like I said, for several weeks or months. And the mom wanted to exclude him. This is before anything was disclosed or to her, to anybody. Okay. She wanted to throw him out, throw my client out of the apartment. My client was saying, I couldn't on the lease, and I haven't done anything. You sure I can get you where it's saying, you know, I'm not just getting along, okay, but I'm gonna fight a custody of the son. Now, the complainant in this case resented the attention that my client was given to his son. But he was always buying things, more things to his son. In her view, he preferred his son, and she was not receiving equal treatment. Wasn't involved things and she felt like she had to work. She was gay. And do room. Okay, you know, do things, you know, around the house. Don't just, you know, lay there and talk to your friends on the telephone 24/7. Okay, that's all. But she resented that this when things were raw and the complainant saw her mom wanting to throw him out and not being successful, they both went out and flagged an officer. I think the evidence is going to show that this lady works at a bank, so she's reasonably well educated. Okay. The officer says, "Probably the domestic matter." That's to talk to a lawyer. And this, also you turn immediately. She flags her down or just close to it. Like that, in the time that the officer got the new turn, she flags the same officer down. My daughter discloses. That's the first time she discloses. Okay. To the same officer. The officer honestly is going to be quiet. What happened? Tell me. So she says, you know, she says, the next statement like, Mom. The mom some words over the officer. Mom. You don't have to worry about custody. Or my father being in the house or in the money. He has been touching me. So she knew that by making those allegations, the effect that was going to have. Okay, I would help her mom do what she wanted to do and accomplish through her statement. That's what happened. Now, you're gonna hear evidence that she was disobeying orders, but the value, follow up on, what she was told that she needed to do in the room. There's something like planning the disciplinarian. And you're also going to hear evidence that she was threatening not only my client, but also my colleague that believes that she used physical. Her products or something, slap her products or something that she wanted, she didn't want to move. So this is not, even though she was 11 and 8 months, this is a savvy little girl. Okay? You know. And she was being told in school the differences between good toys, bad toys, and all of that. I mean, and she didn't discuss until the points that she considered how to find out. There's no evidence of anything. No blood, no nothing, no DNA, no she was being examined by doctors. Forensic interview, which is just someone asking her questions. So there's supposed to be no names and what happened? Basically, did she verbally saying something? Yeah, he should be back again. But it wasn't an interview where she was being confronted. Okay, about anything, when in an interview, and I think that when I hear evidence of this, it's just questions to on the same, you're basically providing a history of her allegations. So that's what is going on. And like I said, there is no physical evidence, and then no evidence of complainant signs of trauma. Basically, he said she said. I'm something that we're gonna have to decide what's the food. It's not decision. At the end of the presentation, we have the last thing that you find.
All right, state, call your first witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Mia Escalante. Your Honor, may I have search?
There's no need to approach.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah. All right, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
So just make sure you speak in the microphone so that the court reporter can hear and the jurors can hear. State your name for the record.
Mia Camila Escalante Sanchez.
All right, state.
Morning, Mia.
Morning.
How old are you today?
16 years old.
And can you tell the jury what your date of birth is?
My date of birth is January 4th, 2007.
Who do you live with, Mia?
I live with my mom and my little brother.
What are their names?
My mom's name is Maria Cristina Escalante and my brother's name is Sebastian Escalante Garcia.
Who is your father?
My father is Juan Antonio Garcia Sanchez.
Mia, do you see your father in court today?
Yes.
Can you identify him by an article of clothing or something remarkable that's on his person?
He's the one wearing the headphones and the gray suit.
Your Honor, I'd ask the record to reflect that she has identified the defendant as her father, Juan Antonio Garcia Sanchez. Yeah, how long have you lived in San Antonio?
I was born and raised in San Antonio, so 16 years.
Okay. Have you ever lived outside of Bexar County?
No.
Can you tell me a little bit about the homes that you've lived in that you remember?
From what I remember, the first one was Hidden Meadows down in Wurzbeck Road. The second one was Sierra Royale in Rue Maryland Street.
I'm sorry, what was the street?
Rue Maryland, so I think 6300 Rue Maryland.
Okay.
And the one I'm currently living on is Forest Oaks on 6313 Evers Road.
Were these homes or apartments?
Apartments.
How old were you when you lived in the Hidden Meadows apartment?
From what I remember, I was there till I was 12, 13.
Do you remember what grade you were in when you moved?
5th grade.
And then, so after that, you moved to the Sierra Royale apartment.
Yes.
And when did you move into your current apartment?
I moved to Forest Oaks. My maybe 14.
Okay. A couple years ago. And what grade are you in?
I'm a sophomore in high school.
Do you do any extracurriculars in high school?
I'm currently in the JROTC program at John Marshall High School.
Do you know what you want to do after high school?
All I know right now is I want to do something within the business industry.
Okay. Have you lived with your mother your whole life?
Yes.
What about your father?
I lived with him till 2018 of September.
Okay. When you were living with your father, did he have a job?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what type of job he had?
No, not that I can remember. I
Do
just
you-
know he had like 2 jobs, worked a lot.
Okay. Do you remember what kind of hours he would work?
Probably from 4 AM to probably the afternoon, from what I can remember.
Was there a time when he was unemployed? That you remember?
Yes,
When was that?
it was around 2017 when I moved to my new apartment, Sierra Royale. He had his back injured, he had an injury, and he stayed home from there.
Okay. How old were you in 2017?
Um, um, 10, 11, I think. I don't.
Okay. Did your mom work?
Yes.
What type of job did she have?
I don't exactly know. I just know she worked in an office. So,
Okay. What kind of hours would she work?
7 AM to 5 PM.
Okay. Did she work on the weekends?
No.
Okay, so Monday through Friday,
Yes.
7 AM to 5 PM. When you were in elementary school at that point, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of after school care did you have?
Can you repeat the question?
What kind of after school care did you have during that time?
At one point in elementary school, I was in learning tree. It was from dismissal to maybe 5.
Okay.
And then, or if not, I would go on the bus and just be with a babysitter, a friend of mine.
Okay. Did anything change when your father stopped working?
Yes.
What changed?
I would just go straight home to him and just do my homework and stuff.
Okay. On the afternoons when you would go home, would your brother be home too?
Yes. My mother or my brother?
Your brother.
Yes, my brother.
Okay. And how old would he have been back in 2017?
2 or 3.
Okay, so little.
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me what the bedroom situation was back then?
In Hidden Meadows, which was where I was living at the time, it was a 1.5 bedroom. So the full bedroom was my parents' bedroom and the half bedroom was mine. It did not have 4 walls. It just had 3. And the way to enter was by going sort of around the couch. There was a little entrance for me. So that was my room.
Okay, and where did your brother sleep?
My brother slept with my parents.
Okay. Did you like when your father would watch you after school?
Not really.
How did you feel about your father during this time?
I never had a good relationship with my father. I was always really scared of being in the house alone with him.
Okay. And what was it about him that made you scared to be alone with him?
He was always in a mood and always getting mad at me.
How would he treat your brother?
He loves my brother.
Was he ever nice to you?
Can you repeat the question?
Was he ever nice to you?
My brother,
Your father,
my father,
your father.
sometimes, yes.
Other than his mood, were there things that he would do that would make you scared of him?
Yes.
What would he do to you?
He would touch me in my private areas when my mom wasn't home.
Before we get into detail of how he would touch you, how many times did he touch you?
Many times, I can't keep count.
Would you say more than 5?
Yes.
After school, when you were alone with your dad and your brother, where would you spend your time?
I would spend it in the living room or in my room, just playing on my tablet.
So can you remember one of the times when he would touch you? Do you remember, was it during the day or during the night?
During the day.
Was your mom ever home?
No.
Can you tell the jury when you were on your tablet in the living room or your room, how would the defendant come and touch you?
He would tap me or call me in his room and tell me to get on the bed and take off my clothes. And I told him I didn't want to, but he was a strong guy. I was young, so I was scared.
Do you remember the first time he did this?
Not the first time.
What about, we'll say February of 2017? Do you recall an incident that you can describe in detail for the jury?
Yes. I was in 5th grade and I was coming home from school and we had this couch that you could pull out the mattress out in, and I decided to take a nap. And I remember watching a TV show as I fell asleep. And I wake up to someone touching my chest area. And I see that it's my dad. And he's telling me to go with him in the room. Sorry. And he pulls my arms to go in the room with him. And from there, he was just touching my area down there and taking off my clothes, and I kept telling him I didn't want to. And from there, he was just touching me.
Now, we have different people call different parts kind of what's comfortable to them. What do you refer to the anus?
My behind.
Your behind. So where specifically would the defendant touch you?
he would touch my breast. And my uh my uterus and stuff.
Okay. At what point did it ever become more than just touching?
When he would pick out his penis and put it inside my behind.
Do you recall, you were describing the incident where you had been asleep and he took you into his room and took off your clothes. Do you recall what you were wearing that day?
No,
Do you recall what he was wearing?
no.
How did you know that he would take out his penis?
I would be on my back and he would be in front of me because I was on the bed and he was on the edge.
Okay. What would he do with his penis?
He would put it inside and I guess just masturbate. I don't know.
Okay. You said he stuck his penis in your behind.
Yes,
How did that feel?
it was painful and I cried a lot.
Did he say anything when you would cry?
He would tell me to stop crying. And that was really it.
Would his penis be, can you describe the shape of his penis when he would do that?
What do you mean by that?
Would it be soft or hard?
It was hard.
How long would it last?
Probably 10 minutes or less.
And where was your brother during this?
He would put my brother out in the living room watching TV.
How many times during this time period did he stick his penis in your behind?
Many times. I can't recall how many. It's just too many.
Was it always during that time period after school?
Sometimes during the weekends too, when my mom would run errands, he would try to find the time.
Did you tell anybody during this time period what was happening?
No, I never told anybody.
Why didn't you tell anybody?
I was scared of what was gonna happen with the family and how my living situation would be. I was also scared of if my mom would believe or if anybody would believe me.
Did your father ever talk to you about what he was doing to you?
No.
Would he ever be nice afterwards?
Yes.
How would he be nice to you afterwards?
He would ask if I wanted something to eat. Or sometimes he wouldn't ever mention or talk to me for the rest of the day.
So from February of 2017 through August 1st of 2018, how many times would you estimate that he penetrated your anus?
You could object, Your Honor, to speculation or estimate.
I can rephrase.
All right.
From February 1st to 2017 to August 1st of 2018. Did your father penetrate your anus with his penis at least 5 times?
Yes.
Would he do it on the same day or different days?
Different days.
You mentioned the incident where you were crying. Would you typically cry, or were there times when you didn't?
I would cry on all of them.
Do you recall it happening in any other locations besides his bedroom?
Yes.
What other locations?
This one time we went to Mexico to visit his family, so my grandpa and grandpa. And I remember my mom not being there, or the family, it was just me and him. And he pulled me in one of the bedrooms that we were staying in at the house and did it there.
Who was home?
Just me and him.
Did he say anything to you then?
No.
Did you ever think about telling your grandparents?
No, that was the first time I ever met them, so I wasn't really close with them.
During this time, did you think about telling your mom?
No, because we were on a family vacation.
Okay.
And it was during the end of Christmas break, so it was also my 8th birthday there. 8th birthday.
Did you know that what he was doing was wrong?
Not until 3rd or 4th grade, when we started getting educated on what sex was and puberty and stuff like that.
What was it about that discussion that made you realize that this was wrong?
There was at one point where we got to consensual and non-consensual sex. And I remember going home and searching up what consensual and non-consensual sex was. And that's when I found out that what my dad was doing was wrong.
Did you ever tell him that?
Yes,
What was his response?
he had this sort of tone where cut me off in a way, like he wasn't really listening, and it just felt like I was talking to a brick wall.
Did you ever tell him that You didn't want to do it anymore.
Yes.
Did he listen to you then?
No.
Did you ever physically resist him?
Yes.
What happened?
He would pin my arms down and my feet. He would push his like lower hips to stop my feet in a way when I would be on my back on the bed. So, and he was really strong, so I couldn't really fight back much.
When you would be on your bed and he would be penetrating your behind, where would you be looking? What would you be seeing?
I would look at the window that was on the left side of the room, or I would just look at the ceiling because there wasn't really much of a thought process. I was just sort of there.
What would what was outside the window?
The window was, it was looking, when you look at the window, you were just looking out in the parking lot,
What level was the apartment on?
the second floor.
So there was no way for anyone to look in.
No,
Do you recall while looking out the window if it was ever raining?
no,
Where would his head be? How would his body be positioned while he was penetrating you?
he would be hunched over, or his head would be on my shoulder. Most of the times I was in a position where my head would be on the bed and he would be behind me. But most of the times I would just feel his stomach on my back.
Now, as we're here in court, you identified your father. Does his hair look any different today than it did back then?
No,
Did he ever ask you to do chores around the house?
yes.
What kind of chores?
He would tell me to wash the dishes, clean the table, clean the living room, basically the whole house.
Does your mom have you do chores now?
Yes,
What kind of chores do you do now?
taking out the trash, cleaning out the cat litter, cleaning up my own room, picking up trash in the living room.
How strict was your father about your chores?
Really strict.
If you didn't do them when he asked, would he communicate to you in a certain way?
He would yell at me, and if I talked back, he would hit me.
Did your mom ever hit you?
Once.
Did your father hit you more than once?
Yes.
More than 5 times?
Yes.
Did your father ever tell you that he loved you?
No object or relevance.
All right, what is the relevance?
It goes to the nature of their relationship.
All right, that'll be overruled. You answered
you
the
can answer.
question.
Yes.
How often would he tell you that?
Not often.
Would he ever say insults to you?
Yes.
What kind of insults would he tell you?
He would tell me that I'm getting fat. And that was really it. It was just more on my body image.
Did he ever comment on your clothing?
No.
Okay. So. Around the time after your father had his back injury and was no longer working. Did you ever observe your father and your mother arguing?
Yes.
Did you ever know why they were arguing?
Yes.
What kind of things would they argue about?
They would argue about financial stuff like rent or the house not being cleaned.
Did you ever hear them talk about divorce?
Yes.
How often would they talk about divorce in front of you?
Not very often. It was more towards when I lived in Sierra Royale, so the apartment where I was last living with him with my mom and dad.
Okay. So let's, I guess, fast forward to September of 2018. Do you recall speaking to an officer with Leon Valley Police Department that day?
Yes.
Okay, can you tell the jury what you remember as to how you made contact with the officer?
It was on a Saturday and me and my mom were on our way to my grandma's house. And before we left, my mom and my dad got in an argument. I can't recall what the argument was about, but it was an argument bad enough for her to stop a police officer that was just leaving the neighborhood. She rolled down her window and he was parked outside this house, exiting the neighborhood into the freeway. And she called him over and asked him how she could get a divorce if the apartment is under the name of both her and him. And in that moment, I was scared because she was calling over the officer for that information. And my head went straight to who would be keeping me and my brother, like the names or the custody under. And I thought we would automatically go with my dad because he was taking care of us at the time because of his back injury. And my mom was always working. And I decided to speak up that day because I didn't want to stay with my dad, because he took advantage of me when my mom wasn't there. So I told, when the officer left, I told my mom I had to tell her something.
No, I'm gonna object to the narrative, and I ask that any testimony be given in a question and answer format.
All right, with regards to narrative, that will be sustained.
Okay. So, why were you concerned about who would have custody of you in the, if a divorce were to happen?
Because I didn't want my dad to keep continuing to touch me.
Did you feel safe when your mom was with you?
Yes.
Did the idea of them getting divorced scare you?
Yes.
Why?
Because I wouldn't know how my life would change if they separated in many ways.
So, how long did your mom talk with the officer that at the initial stop?
It was for about 20 minutes.
Did you talk to the officer at all at first?
No, not until she stopped the officer again
Okay.
so I could tell him.
Okay, so after she first talked to the officer, what happened?
I told her that I needed to tell her something. And I told her that my dad was touching me in ways I didn't like.
Did you go into detail as to how he was touching you then?
She asked me what I meant, and I told her that he was touching me in my private areas, and that was all I needed to tell her.
Okay. So was this the first time you had told anybody that your dad had been touching you?
Yes.
How did she react?
She started crying immediately.
And what did she do after that?
After that, she stopped the officer and told him to come back.
Was it the same officer?
Yes.
Do you recall his name?
No,
Was it a male officer or a female officer?
a male officer.
The second time that he stopped, did you talk to him that time?
Yes.
Do you remember what you told him?
Not exactly. I just remember him asking about in what way he touched me. And he was just writing down stuff that I was saying in a notepad.
Did you give him more details than you had given your mother?
Yes.
Okay. So after you talked to the officer, what happened after that?
After that, he called more officers in. And shortly after my dad and brother arrived, they were pulling into the neighborhood and saw the car and the police car. And he stopped because they told him to. And then my mom, he talked to the officer and asked what was going on. And from there, I couldn't really hear because the window wasn't fully down. And my mom then rolled it up.
Okay. After you talked to officers that day, did you do anything else that day?
We went to HEB because we had to get groceries.
Okay. Did you see your dad again that day?
No,
Do you remember going to other places and talking to people after that?
yes,
Did you talk to your dad again after that?
no,
Mia. Let's see, you were in 5th grade, right? Around 2017?
I was gonna answer, Judge.
That'll be overruled.
Am I correct? You were in elementary school.
yes. I was in 2018, 2017, 2018. I was in 6th
Not
grade.
responsive to the question asked, Judge.
That'll be overruled. You can
Okay.
answer.
Did you say 7th grade? I'm sorry.
6th grade, 2018, 2017, 5th grade, yes.
Okay. What school were you going to?
Elementary, I went to Leon Valley Elementary School. Middle school, I went to Pat Neff Middle School. Pat Neff Middle School.
How did you like school?
I liked school.
Were you a good student?
Yes,
After this happened, did you ever go to any kind of counselor?
yes,
Do you remember her name?
no,
How long did you go to a counselor?
for about a month and a half.
Um, Did your parents end up getting divorced?
Years after, yes,
Does Sebastian, your brother, live with you?
yes,
Does Sebastian ever see your father?
yes,
But you have not.
no,
Your Honor, I'll pass the witness.
Defense.
Your Honor. Could we take a break? Mr. Garcia Sanchez indicated that he's having.
Okay, we'll take a break. All right, everyone, we will take a 15-minute break. So we'll be back here at 11:30. You've heard some evidence in this case. You are not allowed to discuss what you've heard amongst yourself or begin deliberation. You're not allowed to talk about what you've heard with anyone else. You're not allowed to do any investigation. Everything that you need to know about this case is to come from inside the courtroom. Please make sure your badges are visibly displayed if you're going to be walking around the courthouse or downtown, because there are a lot of attorneys and sometimes attorneys are talking about cases. And if they see your badge, they'll know that you're a juror and nobody will be speaking about things. All right. So we'll be back at 11:30. Everyone, please rise for the jurors. All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, defense.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Okay. Can you scoot over or do you want me to move because you kind of hidden behind the computer?
All right, so. Are you asking for this computer to be down?
Yes, please, because I cannot see her face, so
Okay.
I only see half of her body. basically.
Where's your microphone? Excuse me.
Here.
Oh.
Sorry about that. Awesome.
Thank you, George. Mia, when you were 11 back in September 23rd, 27, 2018, which school were you going to?
Hatneff Middle School.
What
I
grade
was
were you
sixth
in?
grade. Sixth grade.
Sixth grade? Okay. And what type of classes were you taking?
Classes.
Right.
I was taking all regular, just my normal,
Normal, what is normal to you?
just regular classes. You have a choice between advanced and regular classes.
Okay, what type of classes were you taking?
Regular, the
Regular
regular
class?
math,
Okay,
English, science, social studies,
all right.
PE, dance.
Which one was your favorite class?
My favorite class was PE.
PE?
Yeah.
Okay. Why was it your favorite class?
Well, we did a lot of activities there, and most of my friends were in that class period that I met.
And it got you outside the classroom, right?
Excuse me?
PE, was it outside the classroom or?
Yes, it was an elective. It was,
Okay.
it was mostly outside.
Was it in the open field or
Yes,
in the gym?
it was both.
Both? Okay. And you said that you were taking the dance class?
Yes, I took both PE and dance.
Okay. So those are two different classes.
Yes.
Okay. Any kind of sports that you, besides dance, I don't know if that is a sport or not, but any sports that you like?
Yes, in middle school, I was in the basketball team, the track and field, and in volleyball.
Oh, okay. And did you have a coach, I would presume?
Yes,
Okay. And for dance, did you have a coach as well?
yes.
Okay. And did you have like a favorite teacher or a favorite coach?
My favorite course was English.
And favorite teacher?
Not really.
Not really?
No.
Favorite coach?
My favorite coach was my PE coach. She was the one that was the coach for like all the sports.
Okay. And then back then, were you riding the bus to get to school or did your mother take you to school?
I took the bus to and back from school.
Okay, from the corner near to your house? Is that
Yes,
correct? Okay.
I live really near the
All right.
school.
And I guess you were riding the bus with one of your friends, best friends perhaps?
Yes,
Okay. She lived nearby?
yes,
All right. Same apartment complex?
no,
Okay. But nearby to where you live?
yes, nearby.
Okay. Now, and how many times have you discussed this case with this nice prosecutor sitting next to me?
Probably two times,
Two
three
times?
times.
2, 3 times?
Yes,
Okay. Do you remember the first time
no,
when you met with them?
no, the first time, no, it was long ago.
Was so long ago?
Yes,
Was that right after you talked to the police, your mother stopped the police, flagged the police down? Did you meet with the prosecutors?
No,
Okay. How long thereafter you met for the first time with a prosecutor?
can you repeat the question?
Yeah, how long thereafter, after you talked to the police officers, did you meet with a prosecutor?
I don't have an exact time.
You don't have any set time?
No, probably a year. I don't, it was long ago. A lot of stuff was happening, a lot of questioning. I know, I think a week after the police came in and they were questioning me and about
All
more
right,
details.
well, we'll go into each.
One at a time.
We'll go into each in detail, but do you remember being in this building at some point?
Yes,
Okay, how long ago was that?
2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yes,
Okay, so that would have been in May 2021? It was 2 years ago.
I think so. I don't,
You think so?
Mhm.
Would that have been the first time?
yes.
Okay,
No, it would have been the second time.
the second time? Okay. When was the first time? Was it by telephone or was it face to face?
The first time I was here to see how it would be in the courtroom.
Okay, okay. Were you in this courtroom or some other courtroom?
It was some other courtroom,
Okay, did they seat you at the chair that you're sitting now? Something
Yes.
similar?
something similar, yes.
Okay, all right. And did they ask you questions about what happened?
No, it was with other kids here too,
It was with whom?
with other kids. We were just here to see what the courtroom looked like and how it would be.
But it was in your case, right?
It wasn't specifically my case. It was just to see
You were
what.
here, you were
there
here
was
for
other-
another case?
All right, excuse me. So, everyone, and I know you may be new to testifying, but everyone, the court reporter has to take everything down. It's easier for her to take it down if everybody speaks one at a time. The interpreter has to interpret, and it's easier for the interpreter if nobody's speaking over each other. So what we're going to do is when a question is asked, the witness will answer if the witness can answer. If there is an objection, then that objection will be made. All right, so let the witness finish her answer, and if you'll let him finish his question. If there's something you don't understand, just let them know that you don't understand. All right, defense, ask your next question.
Were you here on the first time on a school trip of some sort, or,
No,
okay? You were here because the prosecution wanted you to be here, is that correct?
I think so, yes.
Okay, they wanted you to become familiar with the layout of the court,
Yes,
okay? And did they go at that time in the type of questions you should expect from me, from a defense attorney?
yes, it was simple questions like what was my favorite color, stuff like that.
But those were the questions that the prosecution asked you?
Yes,
Did they go into details as to the incident or incidents?
no,
Not at that time?
no,
Okay. And that was the first time, right?
yes.
Okay. When did they go into asking you the type of questions to expect from defense attorney?
The second time,
Second time? Okay. What questions did they tell you that I was gonna be asking?
they were telling me or asking me questions about just going over details of what my dad did, my living situation, who I was living with.
And was those questions being posed to you at the prosecutor's office or like I'm doing here in a
It
courtroom
was-
setting?
It was in a conference room.
In a conference room?
So-
Okay, all right. All right. And your mother was present, I suppose, right?
Yes,
Okay. Anybody else was present?
no, just my mom and I and the prosecutor.
Okay. And that was the second time, and you say that it was 2 years ago?
Yes,
Okay. And what was the third time?
the third time, it wasn't in here, it was in a Zoom.
On Zoom?
Yes,
Okay. And did they go over the same material, the same incident, and asking you details?
yes,
All right. And how long did that last, in your opinion?
it wasn't long, it was just 30 minutes, maybe less than an hour.
Less than an hour? What about the second time? I forgot to ask you, how long did that last?
Less than an hour.
Less than an hour? Okay. And the first time that you were in a court such as this, how long did that last?
We weren't here for long.
You weren't here for long?
Mm,
30 minutes or less, or, okay. All right. And the last time, when was that?
The last time was March 24th, 2023,
Okay,
in the Zoom.
but 2 months ago, via Zoom?
Yes,
Was that the third time, right?
yes,
Okay. Were there any other Zoom contacts with you?
no,
All right. Okay.
sorry, repeat your question.
Were there any other Zoom contacts? Okay. You testified that your parents were having problems, husband and wife problems. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. Let me go back to another question. Did you ever tell anybody any favorite teacher or coach that you had in at Pat Nest Middle School? Anything about this incident?
Check to relevance of a favorite coach.
All right, what is the relevance, counsel?
Did you tell, I mean, the relevance, Your Honor, is that, did she ever tell anybody else besides what she testified to in school?
Right, well, that's the question to ask.
Right, that's what I'm asking.
No, I mean, you need to ask that question, not who her favorite teacher was. You can ask her the question of whether or not she told anyone, if that's your question.
Yes,
All right,
thank you, Judge.
you're welcome.
Did you tell anybody in school about any of the incidents of what your father allegedly did to you?
no,
All right, and you mentioned that you had a class where they taught you good touch and bad touch, is that correct?
non-consensual and consensual.
Right,
Yes,
but you also mentioned good touch and bad touch, is that correct? Remember saying that while the prosecutor was asking you a question?
it was just non-consensual and consensual.
All right, okay. But you remember someone talking at the school about that, is that correct?
In elementary, yes,
In elementary, when you were in fifth or fourth?
yes, it was fourth or third,
Third or fourth, right?
third or fourth grade, yes.
Okay, all right, and you had a tablet at that time, is that correct? You had access to a tablet,
Yes,
right? Is that like a computer?
it was Apple tablet that I
Like-
got.
Like an iPad?
Yeah, an iPad.
Okay. And I will assume that you had internet connection,
Yes,
all right? And and you were able to search consensual and non-consensual contacts,
yes.
all right? And what age were you at the time during the 3rd or 4th grade in elementary?
9 and
9
or 10 around there.
9 or 10?
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't mention anything to anybody at that time, is that correct?
Yes, I didn't mention to anything to anyone.
Anybody? No teachers,
Nope.
no counselors?
A counselor?
Back then, at 3 or 4, when you were 3 or 4?
No,
Okay. Not to your mom?
no.
Okay. Now, on September 23rd, you made a statement to a police officer that your mom flagged him down. Is that correct?
Yes.
And were you on the streets with your mom or what?
No, we were in the car. We were leaving the neighborhood to get onto the road.
So did your mom flag the officer down from inside the vehicle?
Just a moment. The court reporter is asking for a repeat.
We were in the car leaving the neighborhood.
All right, you may continue, counsel.
Did your mother flag the officer down from inside her car?
The officer was parked on the side of the road and he had his window down and she drove up right next to the police car and she kind of signaled him with her hand that she needs to talk to him.
Okay. And how long did that conversation the first time last between your mom and the officer?
It was around 30 minutes, maybe less. I wasn't keeping track of the time.
Were you in the passenger side?
I was in the back.
Was there anyone in the front?
It was just me and my mom in the car. So she was in the driver's side and I was in the back of the car.
Okay. And was your mom parked parallel to the way the police officer's vehicle was moving?
She was on the other side of the sidewalk. So the cars were like next to each other, but on different ends of the road.
Did your mom get off the vehicle and approach the officer or?
No, he came up to the window.
Okay. And do you remember if it was a male officer or a female officer?
A male officer.
Was there one officer or more than one officer?
One officer.
Now, did the officer speak to you at that time?
When the officer and my mom were talking, I did not talk to the officer.
Okay. So they were speaking for 30 minutes and then the officer left?
Yes, he was walking back to his car.
Okay. And then the officer made a U-turn, or did the officer go around the back?
No, he just got inside the car and stayed there.
Okay. And your mom flagged the officer down again?
Yes, because I told her I needed to tell her something.
All right, now. Had the officer moved at that point when you were telling your mom stopped him before he moved?
Yes,
Okay. Did she at that point get off the car and walk to the officer, or did the officer come back to her car again?
the officer came back to the car.
All right, and that's when she talked to you.
Yes, that was when the officer asked what was wrong and my mom told him about what I told her about my dad.
Okay, and how long have, let me take you back a little bit. When the officer first go back to his vehicle, is that when you started telling your mom about the incident?
Yes,
Okay, and how long did that take you to tell her?
it took me about less than 5 minutes.
Okay, and then right after, did your mom call the officer again to come over?
Yes,
Okay, and then she told the officer about the incident that you had just told her.
yes,
Okay, and is that when the officer talked to you about it?
yes, he wanted to know details.
Okay, and that's when you told her about that your dad had been touching you and words to that effect. Is that correct?
Yes,
How long did that take?
to tell the officer the details,
Right,
it took about 10 minutes, maybe.
10 minutes? Okay. And but and you remember what you told the officer, right?
I do remember telling him one of the incidents
Okay. About what?
about my dad.
Right. Okay. But you didn't tell the officer anything about anything happened in Mexico or anything like that. Is that correct?
No, it was just one incident that I told him about,
Okay.
not the one at Mexico.
Okay, but at that point, the question is, you did not tell the officer about the alleged incident in Mexico. Is that correct?
Yes,
You did not tell him.
no,
All right. And then did your father show up at that time?
minutes after we saw his car pulling in to the neighborhood. And the police, he stopped. Because
He
he saw the
stopped at the
police.
location where the officer was?
He stopped behind the.
All right, so I'm going to remind everybody, I understand that sometimes questioning takes on a conversational tone, but there can only be one person speaking at one time. All right, ask your next question.
Did your father show up when the second time you were talking to the officer?
Yes,
Okay, at that location,
yes,
okay? And did everybody go to the apartment you were living with the officer?
after they talked to him and my mom got my brother from his car, we went to the apartments.
Okay, now. And then the officers talked to you again, is that correct? About the incident?
Yes, after my dad left and got his stuff from the apartment, yes,
All right, and they had talked to you the second time inside the apartment,
yes,
at the living room perhaps,
the dining room.
the dining room? Okay, how many officers were there?
2, I think 2.
2 officers? Okay. And How long were the officers questioning you then?
Less than 30 minutes. It wasn't that long.
Just one officer or both of them?
One,
Okay, and did they wear uniform?
yes,
Okay, and you didn't tell them about the Mexico incident, right?
no,
Okay. Now, how old was your brother was 4 or less than 4 at that time, is that correct?
yes, less than 4. I think.
Less than 4?
Yes.
Okay. And you felt like your father loved your brother more than he did love you, is that correct?
Yes,
All right. And the reason you felt that your father loved your brother more than he loved you was because he would buy more things to him, more gifts?
no, not because of buying more things, no.
But you felt like he loved him more than you,
Yes,
okay? And that day when on September 23rd, you were in the presence of your mom, right?
Yes.
In the vehicle.
yes,
And then from there you went to the apartment,
yes.
okay? There were discussions of divorce and custody, that your father wanted to take custody of Sebastian, is that the name of your brother?
It was just divorce, the custody part, no. I don't know anything about.
Did you hear him say that if there is gonna be a divorce, then I'm gonna file for custody of Sebastian?
No,
You didn't hear that?
no,
Okay. But you mentioned that you were scared about your parents getting a divorce, right?
yes,
Because, and this is what you mentioned, there will be issues of custody concerning, and you didn't want for your father to end up with your custody,
yes.
okay? But did you know, or was it discussed that the only custody he wanted was for his son?
No,
No? Okay. But was your mother concerned about custody issues?
she never really talked to me when it came to divorce with them.
You never talked to her about the divorce?
No, she just told me that she was gonna file to get a divorce. And that was it. I never questioned her about, because I knew I was gonna stay with my mom with the case that was now put on.
Well, how long have your father and your mother been fighting?
They were always fighting. It was,
I didn't ask if they were always fighting, but how long have they been doing that? Arguing, fighting, whatever,
since I can remember, since little.
since you were little?
They always had their arguments.
Okay. And but what happened that day is that your father wanted to take Sebastian with him, is that correct?
Yes, he took Sebastian with him out to eat.
Right, but he wanted to take him, if there was gonna be a divorce, he wanted to take Sebastian with him.
Object to asked and answered. He's already covered that she didn't hear that.
Sustained.
Uh, And after talking to the officers, then 3 days, 3 days later, do you remember talking to a CPS interviewer?
No,
Do you recall the name Faith Coleman?
no,
All right. Do you remember talking to a forensic interviewer?
no,
Do you remember saying to the questions the forensic interviewer asking you, he said, "Oh, those are the same questions the other person asked me." You remember that?
no,
Do you remember talking to doctors about it?
I do remember going to the doctors and they were checking area down there.
Did they ask you to tell them, the allegations as to what happened?
I don't remember telling them myself the allegations.
Okay. But do you remember where did you go to be seen by a doctor?
No, I don't remember where it was.
Do you remember the name Center for Miracles?
No,
Now, did you tell them did you discuss with the doctors the alleged incident in Mexico?
no,
So even though you don't remember, perhaps you did discuss the incident?
Objections are vague. I'm not really sure.
All right. That'll be overruled. Do you-
Irrelevance.
All right. Vince, if you could re-ask your question, please.
Right. Thank you. Okay, now, do you remember, well, let me ask you, on November 12th, it is true, isn't it, that you went to the Children's Hospital? November 12th, 2018?
I do not remember that.
Do you remember talking to a Bradley Norad?
No,
Do you remember talking to any doctor there at the Children's Hospital San Antonio?
no, I can't remember I can't remember much from that time after.
You don't remember what now? I'm sorry.
I can't remember much from that time after.
Well, you seem to remember and have an answer for all the questions that the prosecutor asked you.
Object to sidebar.
But you seem
Your Honor.
to,
All right. That will be sustained. You can ask your question. Do you have a question?
Yes, I have a question.
All right, ask your question.
Do you remember this question being asked by the prosecutor?
Object to relevance, Your Honor.
That'll be overruled.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, remember the questions that you were just asked by the prosecutor?
The prosecutor did not ask me if I remembered about going to the children's hospital.
You remember what the questions concerning the doctor that the prosecutor asked you?
The prosecutor did not ask me any questions regarding a doctor.
Do you remember the examinations questions that the prosecutor asked you?
She did not ask me any questions about an examination.
Well, I'm asking you about the examination that you took.
Object to sidebar. Question.
All right, that'll be overruled. What is your question, counsel?
The question is that questions being asked by the prosecutor and answers that she gave to the prosecutor.
No, what specific question are you asking of the witness?
Question about on November 12, 2018, going to San Antonio Children's Hospital.
Object to asked and answered, Your Honor.
That'll be sustained.
Well, let me backtrack. After talking to the police officers, who do you remember speaking to about this incident?
I don't have their names, but I do remember talking to officers in the dining room, and they were asking me details of what happened.
After talking to the police officers in the dining room, who else did you speak to following that?
Nobody else.
You
No.
don't recall speaking to the forensic interviewer on September 27, 2018?
I don't know. I didn't know probably that she was, or they were a forensic interviewer.
I ask you, who do you remember talking to afterwards, after you talked to the police officers in the dining room?
From then, I don't remember. It was just the officers.
Did you speak to a forensic interviewer, a person by the name of Holly Wilson?
Your Honor, I'm gonna object to asked and answered. She doesn't.
She has an answer, Judge.
All right, so ask your question.
You remember talking to Holly Wilson, a forensic interview, 4 days afterwards?
No,
You remember telling her, not telling her about the Mexico incident?
I don't remember.
Object to, asked and answered. She doesn't remember.
Sustained.
Now, do you remember after the September 27, 2018, being taken to a children's hospital of San Antonio on November 12, 2018?
Object to asked and answered, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Did you tell them
Your Honor, object again to asked and answered if he's continuing.
that.
with-
I haven't asked the question yet.
That will be overruled. I need to hear the question.
You remember them asking you what happened in the past and you replying, I don't remember anything about it. I only know it happened because he told me.
And
Remember saying those words to the doctors?
again, Your Honor, I'm gonna object to asked and answered. She doesn't remember that. And also,
And I-
we don't know who them is.
All right, that'll be overruled.
You can answer.
I don't remember.
Well, if you don't remember, is it possible that you mentioned those words?
Object to speculation.
All right, that'll be overruled.
I probably did say that, but I really don't remember going to a children's hospital, speaking to anybody.
Okay, right. Well, let me ask you, isn't it true that when they ask you about this incident, you said, I don't have any memory when I was 5, or I don't have any memory of that?
Your Honor, I'm gonna object to asked and answered again, but also improper impeachment. She doesn't remember the incident.
That'll be overruled. You can answer the question if you remember.
I do remember saying, I can't remember anything 4 or 5. I do remember saying that, yes.
And do you remember either on November 12, 2018, November 23, November 23rd, 2018, September 26, 2018, September 27, 2018, when you were speaking about the incident to the person that was interviewing you, the doctors, you did not mention anything about being in the 3rd or 4th grade and something happening to you?
Object to compound question.
Sustained.
Do you know that when you were talking to a medical personnel, isn't it true that you did not mention that and that something had happened when you were in the 3rd and 4th grade?
To who?
To the medical personnel.
I don't know who that is. Can you?
You don't know what medical personnel means, or?
Medical personnel?
Right.
I don't remember that.
Well, if you don't remember that, do you remember being in a doctor's office or being in a hospital?
A doctor's office, yes.
Okay. And they were asking you questions about the incident for the purpose of medical treatment.
Asking me questions. No, I don't remember that.
Do you remember going through an examination?
Yes.
Okay. And they're asking you if you hurt, if you felt any pain.
Where?
Your body, any part of your body.
I was being examined, yes, in my uterus area. They were just checking in there. That's all
Do
I
you
remember from them.
But you never mentioned that, to them, anything concerning an incident on the 3rd and 4th grade, is that correct?
No, I didn't tell them anything about any incidents. To the doctor, no.
Okay. Now, how many times have you seen the counselor?
What counselor, which
Or
The
how many
one-
counselors do you have?
I only had one. It was about, I was seeing her for about a month and a half. That was the only counselor I saw.
Okay, Juanita Mares?
Yes.
All right, how many times did you see her?
Probably 3, 4 times.
Do you still continue to see her?
No.
Okay. So, when did you start seeing her?
I started seeing her around October.
About 2018?
Yes.
And you didn't tell her anything, what type, let me backtrack. What type of counseling were you receiving?
I don't really know what kind of types of counseling there is. I just know that it was in a certain location and she was just there to hear me talk, how I felt, what happened.
Okay. Now, isn't it true that the disciplinarian in the home was your father? Is that correct?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Isn't it true that the disciplinarian in your house or in your apartment was your father?
Yes.
And he would ask you to clean your room,
Yes.
and he would ask you to do other chores around the house,
Yes.
and you did not do that sometimes,
Sometimes, yes,
And
no, I
he
did.
w- and he will get upset about it,
Yes.
and it will make you upset also.
Yes.
And also at what age did you have a cellular telephone?
I got a phone in 5th grade. That was my first phone. My first phone was, I got it in 5th grade.
In 5th grade or 6th grade?
5th.
5th grade. Okay. And your telephone it broke or was broken or was stolen, or what happened to it?
Well, my phone, I'm pretty sure it broke. I still have it. It's broken.
And your father promised you to buy you another telephone,
Yes.
and he didn't buy you another telephone, right?
Nope.
And you resented that. Is that correct?
I what?
You resented that he did not buy you, he did not keep his
Resented?
promise.
I was upset because
You-
I didn't have any sort of
You were
communication.
upset.
Yeah, I was upset.
Okay.
Yes.
And now, what grade were you in on February 26, 2018?
I was in 5th grade,
In 5th grade? Which school was that?
Leon Valley Elementary School.
Okay.
So everyone, just a moment. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you all your lunch break at this time, because even though we didn't start till we started. I actually had a docket this morning. So the court reporter has actually been typing since 9. So I want to make sure that she has a break so she can continue to do what she does. And I think we're going to end up having to switch out the interpreter. So I want to give them a time to do that and also let the interpreters have their lunch break, because believe it or not, we do have a limited number of interpreters, but they're in different courts as well. So I want to make sure that they have their lunch break. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you your lunch break now. And since maybe you all are new to downtown, I'm going to have us come back at 2 to start up. That'll give you a chance to walk downtown, find something. If you don't have anything that you want to bring back or didn't bring anything, you can walk and find things. And trust me, while you are on your break, we're actually going to be back here at 1:30 because I have other things on my docket other than this case that I need to take up with the other attorneys. So remember what I said. Do not investigate. Do not start deliberating in your mind. Do not talk to each other about what you've heard. I will let you know when it's time to deliberate. Make sure that your badges are visibly displayed in case you bump into people. No, it may be raining outside. Maybe not. So hopefully everybody brought their umbrellas.